Good evening, everyone, once again, and welcome to Shreve Memorial Library's Author Chat Series. Of course, this Author Chat Series happens every Thursday of each month, the first Thursday of each month, at right here at 6 o'clock. Tonight, we are so excited to have Miss Constance McKinsey Neal. Constance is a veteran educator. She is a parenting empowerment coach, and she is the author of I Need a Parent, Not a Friend. And we're going to jump right into that book this afternoon. Constance, can you tell us just a little bit about the book?
Okay, so the title, of course, is I Need a Parent, Not a Friend, and it talks about the parenting styles, communication. It tells the parent what to do if the child isn't learning quite on the level that they should from ages 0 to like 17. What to do if they need to get assistance inside the school system. Um, Communication, I talked about that. It addresses the baby mom and the baby daddy. So there is a letter to each of them. There's also testimonials in the back of my siblings who contributed to the book as well. They had to answer different questions. And it just gives a story and it gives hope. It asks questions at the end of each chapter so the reader can look at themselves. There is a chapter called Man in the Mirror. So we can look and see, are there any changes we might want to make while we're making this journey as a parent, as a caregiver, grandparent, or guardian.
Wow. Tell us about the parenting styles.
The parenting styles. There are 4 parenting styles. One is authoritarian. And with this one, the child doesn't really have a say so. It's do what I say. And that's pretty much it. Authoritative.
I think we probably grew up with the
Yeah.
authoritative style of parenting. Of course, I
Yes.
came through in the 70s, and it was mama would say, because I said so. And
That's
there was
right.
never any real explanation for what was. Is that a good parenting style? Or I guess I didn't turn out too bad, but
No, we did not turn out bad. I mean, but our parents, they gave us what they had. So they
right.
used what they had to get us through. Um, but the kids don't they couldn't voice their opinion. Kids today, they ask lots of questions. So
Mhm.
back then we didn't ask any questions. We just did it. We knew that they loved us. They gave us food, they took care of us, shelter, and all of that. We just knew that they loved us. They just did what they did as parents. But this is a whole different generation that we're dealing
Right.
with
Would that
now.
work today? How would that work today? Would that work today?
You might get child protection CPS in your life today if it's to an extreme. It just depends. Sometimes things can go too far, and
Right.
they do refer people to parenting classes and different things like that. So, yeah.
What are some of the other parenting styles?
The next one is authoritative. With this one, the parent still wants you to do what they say, but they may give you an opportunity to voice your opinion or ask a question or explain what it is they need you to do or why. Because a lot of times they want, well, why I got to do this? Instead of just saying, because I said so, you can give them the explanation of, well, this is going to help you later on in life and things like that. The next one is permissive. With this one, if there are rules, they're not really enforced a whole lot. The child can kind of meander and do what they want. When I was teaching parenting class at an addiction center, one of the parents said, if I had had rules, if my parents had given me rules, I would have turned out to be a better person. And I was like,
Right.
wow. So it's important to give them structure. That last parent, before I leave that parenting style, sometimes the kids will have difficulty in school, academic, behaviorally, different things like that. And even with the last one, which is uninvolved parent. With this type of parent, you still may have difficulties in school, academics, behavior, social, but sometimes with this one, there are some other issues going on like addiction, mental illness, different things like that.
Would you say that with the problems that we're having in schools these days, would you say that the latter parenting styles are probably what's going on?
Yes, ma'am. As an educator, I got to see that over the years, the involvement diminished, parental involvement, and we got to see that even with IEP meetings, we might see the parent for that first IEP meeting. And this is not all parents. This is just, I just want to make that plain.
Right.
We wouldn't see them. We would send the notices and you won't hear from them. But if that child goes home and say, my teacher or somebody did such and such or stole such and such, then the parent is going to come up there. But when it comes to academics, no.
Wow.
Yes,
Wow.
ma'am.
Wow. That is different. Very different.
Yes, ma'am.
What would you say, and of course that to parents who would probably tell you, you can't tell me how to parent my child?
Well, I'm not telling them in the book how to do it. The book really addresses mindset. And once they do the mindset, it's their decision whether to continue down the road that they're going or if they want to start the healing process and make changes in their home and make changes in the trail or the track that their child and their family is going on. So no, I don't tell you what to do. And, some people may look at that book and say, well, she's trying to tell me. I don't tell you what to do at all. I just address the thought process and how things are done. And I give you examples. And I also give you an opportunity to write the things down in the book. So it will kind of help you as you work through the process. So it's a hands-on, interactive book.
Would you say that parents who parent from that hands-off, the last two styles that you talked about, would you say that they were trying to be their child's friend?
Some of them may be. Some of them may not have been. It could have just been like a survival mode type thing. Like, I'm just trying to work and pay these bills and make sure we got a roof over our head. So the situations are going to be different.
Right.
And then to mention that that comes to mind is some parents say, I'm not going to do my kids how my parents did me. So that could be a part of being a friend. I'm not going to do them like that. I'm just going to do this right here. So it just depends on the case.
Wow. Interesting. What made you want to write such a book? Of course, there are thousands and thousands of parenting books out there.
Yes. So I grew up in a very structured home, authoritarian, as you stated earlier. We did chores. We cleaned the yard, cut the grass. We did all of that. Those things taught us to be responsible adults, young adults and adults. And the other part of it is we are all successful, thanks to mama and daddy. And they taught us about God and kept us in church, and we developed our own relationship. And the other thing is being in the school system like I was, I saw the progression over the years to where there needed to be something. And the last thing, I knew from a little girl that I wanted to work with families. I really did. At that time, I didn't know in what aspect it would be. The first thought I said I wanted to teach. And then I moved away from that to being an attorney, which I would have gone into family law. So I would have been trying to get everybody to try to work it out. But I thought I could make more of a difference in the classroom. But God has a way of bringing you back around to in a circle to where you should be. And so working with families right now is um, where I am. The teaching part, that was indirectly, and that was still a part of the process. But in counseling is where I will really be working with the families. So I knew from a little girl that I would be working with families. I just didn't know how. So
Wow.
yes, ma'am.
Wow. I think a lot of times the thing that you may be seemingly more interested in leads you to the thing that you ought to be doing in the first place.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
so we can see the progression of that. Was it difficult writing this book?
It was not difficult. When I started, I was in school working on my master's, but I put it to the side because I was just so busy. And then when COVID hit, everything got shut down. I said, okay, well, let me just go on, finish it out. I kind of sketched the chapters through the outline, and then I just went from there. But if someone has an idea that they want to write a book, just start outlining your thoughts, what you would think the chapter, you don't have to title it right away, but just kind of outline what you're going to talk about or what you want to talk about in the chapters and just go from there.
Tell us, tell us some of these chapter titles to give us an idea of what we're in for.
Okay. I'll talk about why I wrote the book. That's at the introduction. I'll talk about different questions that help you to decide, do you need assistance? Do you want a coach or things like that? And some of those are, let's see. Why do I need to focus on parenting skills? Are the kids off the chain? Are you being called every day by the school? Are you pulling your hair out trying to figure out what to do? Are you a grandparent caring for a grandchild? Do you feel hopeless? Have you messed up as a parent, gotten addicted to drugs, alcohol, or have a DCF case? So that's one of the chapters. We talked about parenting styles. Let's talk about communication. That deals with words. And we've all heard sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That is the biggest lie. So it talks about communication and giving praise, appropriate praise to your kids, and even to your friends, any relationship really. It talks about change and growth and how growth does hurt. Looking in the mirror, looking at ourselves to see what we need to do, how we did things or how we're doing things. Okay, the next one is child development, and it's called Before You Had Your Child, and I'll talk about development of the brain. Let's see, what to do if your child is behind in their development. There are some programs that are designed to help with that. There's a Dear Baby Mama and Dear Baby Daddy letter. Dear Baby Grandparent or Guardian. And the chapter 11 is what does raising successful children look like? And after that are chapters from each of my siblings. And then I do a reflection. The reflection is for the reader at the end, and then I do final words. Okay. And there's a corresponding workbook that has the corresponding chapters, and that's hands-on as well. When it comes to the child development part, those are checklists that the reader or parents or whomever can go along and see, okay, well, where is my child? And so they can take the appropriate decisions after that to see if they have some concerns for their child.
With school starting, and of course, children have had a pretty wild ride for the past year or 2 years, year and a half, or however long. With school starting, what would be your advice to parents to sort of rein these kids in to get them some discipline, and how can they communicate with their child to get some real discipline and I guess to just kind of get a handle on the child, his behavior, his communication, or whatever.
Mhm. Well, they can start off by talking to the child, asking them questions, getting a handle on or a thought process about how the child feels about what's been going on, because a lot of times the children don't get to talk about it. They have fears, they have concerns just like we do. So we should start by sitting them down and talking to them and say, hey, we're getting ready to go back to school. And you know how last year went. This year, let's try to do such and such. Okay, these are my expectations when you go to that school, and even when you're at home. I need you to listen, sit down and listen, follow the rules. First of all, if you're riding the bus, sit down and follow the rules of the bus because there's a safety issue. And then of course, the temps have to be taken and different things like that. But tell them what your expectations are and remind them every day, okay, well, we're going to school to do what? What are you going to do when you walk in that classroom or even in the building? Because each building probably has their own procedure, especially dealing with the temps and all of that kind of stuff. But just sit down and talk to them and teach them your expectations, what you expect. Because when I was in school, I knew I need to come to that school and do what I'm supposed to do, or I'm going to get in trouble. And back then, our parents could pop up at any time, and mine did. So basically expectations, teaching them what you expect from them because they want structure. They want those things. They're not going to tell you that, but that's what they need and that's what they want. So letting them know what you expect from them in school and that you expect for them to do that homework if they have homework, playing nice with their friends if they are on the playground, which they do still go on the playground, but just following those rules and check in with them that day. Okay, well, how was your day today? Don't just pick them up and, just talk to them, ask them questions and communicate with the teacher. Don't always believe everything your child say, investigate. And don't just assume that they're telling you the truth when they say the teacher or somebody did something. Investigate, talk to the teacher, say, hey, my child said such and such, or somebody did whatever. But communicate. That is the best thing that we can do with our children. And then you just monitor them, go in the J campus, whatever, and monitor parent portal, monitor their grades. Hey, how'd you do on that test today? Them if they have spelling words, whatever the case may be, do some of that. Make flashcards. Different things can be done to just help with that communication. That's the main key. Communication between the parent, the child, and then the parent and the school.
Right. And I guess basically for that parent who just trying to keep food and a shelter over the head.
Yes.
Probably just need to communicate.
Yes.
Well.
Yes.
Wow. How do you feel this book is going to help parents?
I believe that it's going to cause them to reflect on how they were raised. And if it was a not so good environment, they can take the steps to change or transform what they do in their home with their family. I also talk about goal setting in the workbook. It addresses goal setting and it asks them questions. What did you want to be when you were growing up? Because we all said we wanted to be something. And asking them, okay, well, what will keep you from that now? Or what steps do you need to take to reach that now? So it gives them a thought process and it helps them to kind of think, well, I said I wanted to be what? I wanted to be some, say cosmetologist, whatever. And why am I not doing it? And how can I do that? So what steps do I need to take? You might need to get somebody to, if you decide to go to school, you may have to get an aunt or somebody to help you with the kids when they get out of school if you're still at school. So it's still a village. It takes a village, or you still need a good support system. So if you still want to do those types of things, you just have to work on putting those things in place. Now, when I was younger, my mom did go back to school, but we were older. And so what she would do was set a schedule. We all had chores in the house. She would cook or meal prep. Everybody's doing the meal prep now, but she meal prepped when it wasn't meal prepping. So she would cook all of the meals on Sunday, and she would write the list out on what we were supposed to eat each day. So those are some of the things that were put in place for us, and they still work today. We just have to work them.
Mhm. I can just about hear a parent say, okay, I got two good ones, and but it's that last one.
Mm-hmm.
I have tried all of this. I have done all of this.
Mm-hmm.
What else can I do? What else can they do?
Well, we have to get to know our kids. They have their own little personalities. So and I know it's hard, but sometimes we need to take that one by the side and say, hey, let's go get us something to eat, just me and you. We're gonna take the other kids, the aunties, grandmother somewhere, because you can't leave them by themselves. And so it's just gonna be me and you, and we're gonna take a ride. We're gonna go get your favorite burger, pizza, whatever, and just spend some time with that one and get to know him, get inside of his head. What is he thinking? But you have to build that relationship though. So each child is their own little person or bigger person. You still have to take that time out to get to know them, on the side. You still mama or daddy. You not being a friend just because you're doing that. You're trying to build a relationship with them. So when they get older, they won't mind talking to you about whatever. You know what I'm saying? So that's one of the things that they can do. They can just pull him to the side and give him or her that little bit of time, and that may start making a difference. And if you do that more, you may see a difference, and even with the other two.
Mhm. And I have to put a pin right there and say that I have three. The two, I would have never known children were bad until the third one.
Oh, wow.
He had to have what I call a little bit more love.
Uh-huh.
And I called him my favorite child. The other two didn't mind because they knew what that meant.
Yes.
And that is so true. You have to take out a little bit more extra time with that one that is a little bit more difficult to rein in. I was called by the school probably almost every week, that he had gotten into something, had done something, and that happened up until he was ninth grade. And I got a final call when he was ninth grade, and the teacher said, I really enjoyed teaching him. And I said, what did you say? Yes, but
Wow.
I can attest to that. That difficult one, pull them to the side, give them a little bit more love, a little bit more time. And
Yes.
it may not happen overnight, but it will.
Yes. Right. Yes, ma'am. Definitely.
When you say, when you talk about the chapter "Man in the Mirror," this is just my interpretation of what you might be talking about, but you might want to correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
After parenting my three, I now get a chance to see them parent their children. And the things that got on my nerves back then, they tell me as Grammy, I have lost my mind, because if they had done that, they would be on punishment. But I tell them now, looking back, some of those things were only just getting on my nerves. And now that I'm over that hill, I can see where it didn't mean a hill of beans. It didn't break or make anything. So therefore, I don't have to get in an uproar when they do little things. And I tell them that you might want to look at yourself. Find find out if what they're doing, is it detrimental to them, you, or is it just getting on your nerves? Tell us
Mhm.
about the man in the mirror.
Well, The Man in the Mirror, of course, is a song by Michael Jackson, and I
Yes.
have that as well. One thing is that the children mirror us just like they can mirror us in good ways. They can also mirror us in those not so good ways. And
Mhm.
so sometimes they take on those traits or those characteristics, that we have. And I also talk about how death and life is in the power of the tongue. So we have to watch what we say over our children. You ain't gonna be nothing just like your no good daddy. So we have to mind the words that we say. If
Right.
you want your children to grow into positive, productive beings, we know that they're gonna be children, but you have to speak life over them. Baby, I'm so glad you made 5 hearts this week so you can go to the school store. I love the way that you're coming home and cleaning up. You're changing out of your uniform. I love the way that you are coming home, sitting down at the table, going ahead and starting on your homework, just building them up. So that's something else that I talk about is death and life is in the power of the tongue. I talk about the purpose of the book also, which is to learn how to do rituals and routines. And they do that in the classroom every day. So those are some things that we can do at home as well, like picking up your clothes off the floor or putting your dirty clothes in the hamper, changing your uniform when you get home and putting it wherever, mama wants you to put it. Putting that backpack, packing that backpack at night so that you won't forget anything, and putting it by the door or in the living room, whatever, in the living room, so that when it's time to go, or if you're running late and the bus is coming right down the street, you can just pick it up and go. Different things like that. What to do when you get home, what you're gonna do when you get up in the morning. Use the bathroom, brush your teeth, eat breakfast. Some of them eat breakfast at school, different things like that. Let's see. Some of the questions are, moving forward, how will you change the man or the woman in the mirror? What did you like least about what you read? What stood out to you the most? And what is your takeaway from the chapter? So, and like I talked earlier, children ask questions today. They want to know the whys of different things. So, if they know why for a certain thing, they'd be like, okay, well, mama said that. Well, let me try it and see. Or daddy, uncle, sister, auntie, whomever. So, but we don't have to be their friend to help them to be productive citizens. So the goal and objective of this for me is to help families heal in whatever way that they need to. And it starts, of course, in the home. That's where it always starts. But over the years, we've gotten away from some things. And we have a lot of chaos and other things as a result of that.
Mhm. The letter to baby mama. What's in that letter? I know.
Okay, so let's see here. Okay, so this is what it says, and it's identical to baby daddy as well. And it says, you are worth more than what you currently see. It is said that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. Have you ever been told that? Do you not know that there is a purpose for your life and the children that you bore? You were put here to make a difference and impact the lives of others, starting with your children. Have you ever thought about how your relationship or non-relationship with your children's father affects your child? It is possible to co-parent in a positive manner, even if you are not with the father. I am a living testimony as a byproduct of the divorce or relationship breakup. They were able to work together for our sakes, and it was 6 of us at that time. They may didn't like each other or how things were, but that was put aside. They are friends today. What are you willing to do to help your children work through their issues? Is it acting out in behavior because they miss their dad or cannot see him? Are they acting up in school? Do they know what you expect of them? Did you teach your expectations to them? What would you say is the most pressing or difficult issue that you can work to solve with assistance? This is not about anybody else. You want me to continue?
Oh, sure. That's
Okay. What goals and desires did you have as a child that you are not walking in right now? Do you know that when your children see you striving to do better, it motivates them to do the same? My mom went back to school after her divorce to improve her and our lives. She got her degree in nursing. It wasn't easy, but it was worth it. We saw her daily sacrifice. Not only did she go back to school, she also worked a full-time job. Where there's a will, there is a way. She set up a schedule for us to follow. She cooked all our meals on Sunday and put them in the refrigerator and placed the menu on the refrigerator. We knew what the expectations were and did our best to meet them. Years later, she went back and received her master's as well. She stated, "This was for my grandchildren." All was not perfect, but neither is life. It is important to set up structure, and a good support system is helpful. I said all that to say this: pull out your forgotten dreams and goals, write them down, and start moving towards them, and make necessary improvements on yourself, your mindset, and then move on to the next thing: positive co parenting and making things better for the family. And at the end, for reflection, when I was young, I said I wanted to be a. What would you need to do to accomplish this? What would hinder or delay me from doing this? What plan would I need to put in place to accomplish this goal or dream? How long will it take?
wow. What a letter. What a letter. I can remember when I was on the verge of having my first grandchild. I wrote a letter to him and read it out loud before he was born. And I think we may be onto something with that, because I told him in the letter that Grammy has already prayed for you. The very things that have blessed your grandmother has blessed your dad, and those are the things that will bless you. We have music in us, and I expect music to come out of you. And there it is.
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. And I'm just getting so excited about this. What inspired you to write this book?
I would say, first of all, my mother was my role model. She had me at the age of 14. So I guess you could say we kind of grew up together. But she was my role model, and I saw her walk in life, her walk with Christ. And I just wanted to do something that will make a difference in the lives of other people. And it was needed. As I stated earlier, as an educator, I saw so much over the years, and that's something that always bothered me. The lack of parental involvement and just different things that I saw. And so I heard this saying, and you kind of alluded to it earlier, the things that bother you, you're called to do something about. And so this is part of that calling for me, to help do something about what I see as something that's lacking in our society and in our families.
Wow. Saying that your mom is 14 years older than you, but
Yes.
she still did not see the need to be your friend.
That's right.
Like, tell us about that, because I think for a lot of a lot of the younger mothers,
Mhm.
they need a little bit of that wisdom.
Okay. Ooh, so my mom set the example for us, but she never tried to be our friend. You know, she taught us, uh, she taught me how to cook. You know, I asked her, you know, show me how to cook. I think it was cakes or pancakes or something. So, but she took the time to show me and us, you know, the different things that we needed. My mom is a quiet lady. She really don't talk a whole lot, but she took the time to show us. And you learn by doing and you learn by watching. And that's another thing. The children learn by watching, whether you are doing something good or whether you're doing something that's not so good. They're watching you. So that's another thing. They're watching.
Mhm.
So if you
So they
want
need
to,
to, so they need to see something. Tell us about.
yes, they need to see something, like I stated in that chapter. We saw my mom go back to school. We stay up late and study. We saw her go to work. We saw her cook. We saw our dad go to work and provide for him. I mean, for us, I'm sorry. And we saw he taught us as well. You know, we worked in the yard. He grew food. We worked in the field. We shelled peas. Even my grandfather brought peas every summer. So there were animals that had to be taken care of. When you are trying to raise a family or productive children, it is not, I'm going to say, and I could be wrong, it's not possible to be their friend and have them come out and be productive. They need that structure. They need you telling them what to do. Now, when they're grown, like you, Miss Ivy, and my mama, and whoever else, when they are grown and they
Mhm.
have their own children or before they have children, that's the time. If y'all want to do it like that, that's good because you're grown, you're on your own, you taking care of yourself, and you can reflect and say, hey mama, remember when such and such and such and such, you know,
Mhm.
and y'all might laugh about it or whatever, and
Oh
that's
yes.
okay. But when they are young and you're trying to establish that firm foundation and get them to where they can be productive citizens, then no, I don't believe that it's possible to be their friend. Not at that time. That comes later in life if that's, you know, what
Right.
happens.
Now, before somebody go off the rail and say, "Oh, I can't be friends with my children," you can be friendly with them, but you can't be
Yes,
their friend.
friend. Yes, you can be friendly. You're not trying to be but yes, you can be friendly. That's where that communication, spending time with them, uh, each one of them in their own element, you know,
Right.
that's where all of that comes in, being friendly, you know, with the
Mhm.
child.
Mhm. Yeah.
Hmm.
So you need to be accessible,
Hmm.
and you do need to be cordial, but you just can't just go hang out with the child and do everything the child wants you to do.
That's right.
Mhm.
That's right. Because real life is not like that. In
Right.
real life, you have responsibilities. If you're on somebody's job, you're following their rules. So even if you are your own business person, you still have rules you got to follow. You got to pay taxes. You got to
Mhm.
pay your employees.
Mhm.
So rules are in every facet of life. So why not, you know, the home as well?
Give give our parents some, I guess, some rules and some disciplines that they can give to their children,
Mhm.
especially as school starts.
Okay. Okay. So, for rules for the school, the teachers are going to reinforce. They're going to tell them the rules the first day, and they're going to take time to go over those rules, so they can ask the child about what kind of rules did your teacher talk about today. What do you think about it? You know, um, and then have those rules at home. Now, what I suggest for home, especially if they're younger kids, and even the older ones, you can do it too, is put your rules on a poster board. I know everything is electronic now, but that poster board can stay on your wall. You can put thumbtacks or whatever and put that whatever you want them to do. Say, for instance, when they come home, okay, change your clothes. Put your clothes in the dirty clothes hamper, wherever you want to put them. Number 3, get you a snack. Number 4, sit down and do your homework. And then number 5, pack your bag. Well, if the parent checks the work, check the work. Put everything in the backpack and set it by the door. And after that, they can do their dinner, whatever it is they do after the homework. You just have to make it adjust to your situation. That was just an example that I gave, but in the classrooms, they have their own rules. There are rules for walking in the hallway, so there are different rules or routines for different areas of the school. And you may have that in your home as well. For us, it was don't eat in the living room, so you're going to have different things you want them to do in each room. Say, for instance, the bathroom, hang the towels up on the rack, clean out the tub, flush the toilet, wash your hands. Those are routines that you can do without thinking about. So once you have those rules in place and they're following them to your expectations, then you may be able to switch out and change it to something else with a problem.
Mm-hmm. What about the enforcement of those rules? Because
Yes.
it does not do any good to have rules without any enforcement.
Consequence. Yes. And that's the thing. You have to be consistent. You can't say, oh, it's okay. If they don't do it that day and you let it go, they're going to try it again. So you have to be consistent and let them know, hey, this is what I'm expecting. And what you can do to help with enforcement is to do a chart. We have those old charts that you can buy with the little lines on them. And you can put everybody's name on it. And when they follow or do what they're supposed to do each day or whatever, you can put a sticker by their name. And if you tell them, okay, if everybody gets so many stickers this week, this is what we can do as a family. Or let them vote. Ask them, okay, so if everybody does well this week, what y'all want to do? Mama used to take us out to eat, or she would take us to the lake because we live not far from the lake. So she would call and say, okay, if y'all have the house clean, such and such, I'll take y'all to the lake. That was a reward.
What can parents do for a reward these days, since
we're kind of restricted?
Like we've got restrictions, but at the same time, every home may already have, you got HBO, you got Hulu, and you can pull up a movie anywhere. So,
and that's a good question, but are they doing it as a family? Some people may be, and some people may not be. Something that you guys don't normally do, or ask them, okay, what y'all want to do as a family? If everybody does well, what do y'all want to do? That's giving them that input. They don't normally get to talk. So ask the kids what they want to do. I know we have all these conveniences, but most of the time we're conveniently in our rooms and everybody doing their own thing, unless you structure that time.
Yeah. Right. Another question. What does raising successful children look like?
Okay. So in our instance, we were reared in a strict home. We'll put it like that. We all had rules. Everybody was expected to do such different things, like one person cleaned the bathroom, the kitchen, we washed, we did all of those things. But at the same time, our mom talked to us. She told us what, the ins and outs of different things. And we took it upon ourselves and we followed her example and my dad's example that they set. Remember, we watched. They talked, but we also watched. So we did what they did. Mama went to school. And I remember as a little girl, I told my daddy, I don't want to go to college. I'm going to be a secretary. I was thinking about that earlier today. But our mom set that example. She went to school to better her life. Not saying that you have to go to a 4-year. You can go to Votech. You can take a trade, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. So set that example for them because they're looking. Like I said earlier, we went to church, we were taught love, and we were given structure. I think that's very important. That's part of it. And she just set that example because I was watching her for sure anyway, because I was the oldest. Um, Successful children. And it may not be somebody with a degree, it could be somebody with a trade, but that child is going to do their best to be productive. They're going to want to take care of themselves and be independent. I can just go briefly and tell you what each of us do. I have 4 brothers and 2 sisters. There are actually 10 of us, but this is the first set. So my brother next to me, he is an analyst. He takes data with the and takes calls from clients at the Social Security office. I can't remember the actual title that he is. I have a brother who is a retired Air Force pilot who's also a pastor right now. And I have another brother who is his goal is to be a physician's assistant. And there is another brother who is an engineer. He's a mechanical engineer. And my baby sister, she is a physicist, a medical physicist. But all of them are on their own. They're all able to take care of themselves. They spend time with our nieces and nephews, and they give to other people around them. They're involved in the community. So those are some of the things or some ways you can look at them as successful. And everybody may have their own definition of successful. But one key thing that my mama always say, I've never had to go to the graveyard and I've never had to go to the courthouse. So I would say those are her definitions, some of those of being successful. So those are just some examples.
Right. I would have to concur with that. And parents always know that college may not be for everybody.
Yes.
But an education is.
Yes.
And it is upon you, because even if you go to college, some people have gone to college and still did not get an education. They were just sitting in a room.
Yes.
And the way to get an education is to get out and learn some things. A good way to do it is by reading. I tell my daughter all the time, I said, you just didn't automatically transform into a nurse. You became a nurse because of what you read. And some of the things that people told you, and some of the things that you saw other nurses do. So therefore, that's where the education comes in. Yes. And my oldest son pretty much kind of put that little phrase together, and I was like, wow, I never thought about it like that. He said, Mommy, college may not be for everybody, but an education is. So always remember that. College may not be for everybody, but an education is. And wherever you get your education, that's where you got your education.
That's right.
It doesn't necessarily have to be in a classroom.
It does not.
Right. And I believe as long as our children, if they can see it, they can be it. And it goes both ways now. If they see you slipping, that's what they're going to do. Yeah.
And they may call you out on it.
I'm always reminded of a story that I've heard several people tell the story of. There were twins, and one said, I don't drink alcohol. And the other one said, I'm an alcoholic because my daddy was an alcoholic. And the other twin said, I'm not an alcoholic because my daddy was an alcoholic. So
Mhm.
it can go either way. And our children have to see something in order to
Yes,
be it.
that's right.
Any parting words, Miss McKinsey Neal, on what's the name of our book? Parenting.
I need a
I
parent,
need
not a friend.
not a friend. Mhm.
Yes, just take into account everything that you've gone through and know that it's not too late if you want to make adjustments. There is always hope as long as you are breathing, or as the old people say, on top of the ground. There is always hope. So if you see someone that's a role model for you, you admire what they do, talk to them and find out what it is. How were they able to do what they are currently doing? They don't mind. Just ask questions. So there's always hope as long as you are breathing.
Mhm. And remember, your child needs a parent. Children
Yes.
need direction, they need protection, they
Mhm.
need structure, they need
Yes.
instructions,
Yes.
they need direction. Um, Another real pivotal point in children's lives, I hear a lot of parents, even today, say, when you turn 18, you're on your own.
Mm.
Tell us your feelings about that.
Well, when I was 18, I was not on my own. I was in college. So therefore, I couldn't be on my own. I had the support of my parents and my
Mhm.
family. So I can't be on my own if I'm still needing those types of things.
Mhm.
But if you've given them a good foundation, they will have more of what they need to work towards getting to that point when they
Mhm.
can be on their own when it is time.
Mhm. Mhm. Um, what I found when each of mine graduated high school, of course, with elementary and middle school, you've got that day to day sort of parenting to where you're constantly telling them, directing and redirecting.
Mhm.
By the time they got to high school, you were probably doing more directing rather than redirecting.
Mhm.
And by the time they graduated high school, I just became like, oh my God, this kid needs me more now than they have
Then
ever
ever.
needed me in their lives. Because whatever decision that they make um, today, they're going to have to live this out either for the next 5 years or for the rest of their lives. So,
That's
parents,
right.
what we need to remember is that you're going to always be a parent. Always.
Mhm.
My daughter moved to Washington, D.C. as a travel nurse, and she's 30 years old, and I'm still building that village, still
Mhm.
building the village, because with all the things that are happening today, I want somebody around her who
Mhm.
knows her to where she can't run home to me
Right.
quickly. But if I've got a friend there, she can run to that safe house.
Mhm. That's true.
Um, and that's my definition of being her friend, is to
Mhm.
introduce her to some of my godly friends.
Yes. Yes. Yes, ma'am. Definitely.
Yes. Well, if we don't have any questions for our author tonight, do we have any questions for our author tonight?
I don't see any in the chat.
No questions tonight.
No questions tonight? Well, I believe we're going to wrap up here. Constance, we are so delighted that you stopped by to speak with us about your book, I Need a Parent, Not a Friend. And parents, please remember that your children need your directions more than anything. You can meet us right here the first Thursday of each month for the Shreve Memorial Library Author Chat. Coming up for next month, I believe, we'll have Dr. Tyrone Burton, and he's got another book that we're going to talk about with Mr. Burton. As a matter of fact, I believe this book is More Than a Notion. Of course, he's a local educator, and he'll be talking about education. And with all of that said, good night, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you.